What happens when the affection that once made you feel butterflies don't feel like that anymore? When you have someone that you love so much and suddenly you look at them and they don't look like the same person anymore. The affection is no more there and you're confused. And the big question that you have is, what went wrong? Yes, this is the question of a 30-year-old woman who is confused as to what happened to her marriage. Newly married, they felt really, really, really good from the beginning, but 3 years into the marriage, she does not recognize her husband anymore. Now, she thinks that she is now a baby making machine because the big question that everybody keeps asking is, when are the kids coming? This is the question of a 30-year-old woman who trusted us with her story right here on Broken Pen. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Daphne Flashley, and you're most welcome to Broken Pen on MX24 TV. Remember that we're coming to you from our studios in East Legon, Orlando Street. You know, it's always fun, fearless, and factual. Tonight's Broken Pen story follows a worn out woman who once shared a deep friendship, passion, and emotional connection with a man she married, the man of her dreams. But years into the marriage, she finds herself feeling lonely, unseen, and emotionally disconnected. In fact, if you get into the story, you understand that the only time they feel emotionally connected is when she has to perform her wifely duties in bed. Well, I hope that after this episode, she finds solace and also she finds the answers that she has been longing for. Well, tonight, I'm not doing it alone. Every single time I have guests that I always say double down as therapists, as preachers, and so much more. I have here with me on my left a very beautiful, beautiful young lady. Ladies and gentlemen, she looks splendid in her blue. Please, did they say you were going for a red carpet to do you were coming to Broken Pen?
They told me I was coming to Broken Pen.
Hey!
Yeah.
Because, hey, oh my God. Well, we have Nanaya
Gyau.
Gyau. Yes,
Agyepong.
Agyepong, and she's the CEO of Gyau Atelia. Oh, that is why you look like this. You have to look like what you sell.
Yes.
Exactly. And then also someone who is not new to MX24 TV, ladies and gentlemen, we have Frank Edem Adofoli, and he's a counselor and ADK practitioner. Hello,
ADR
sir.
practitioner, yes.
AD,
ADR.
ADR practitioner. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. I hope that you brought in your A game because we're going to have a lot of conversations. This woman, she is very, 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 very confused about what is happening. But before we get into it and we start talking, did you read the stories though?
Yes,
You
I
read the
did.
story.
Yeah.
Overview. Before we get into it, what do you think about the story?
Well, growing up, from conversations I've had with people older than I am, people that are married, and family members that are in marriages, they always, the African society always portrays marriage as, should I say, a big deal. It's almost always different from how it was in during the relationship. You understand? It's something that they say. So personally, I expect my marriage to be definitely different from what I see in my relationship. I just pray for a good
You
marriage.
just pray for a good
Yeah.
marriage. I'm sure she prayed for a good marriage too, but obviously this is where it has gotten to. You don't know if people will change you. Like people are like human beings are like seasons.
But as a human being, you should know that people change. Everything. The only thing that does not change in this world is the word of God. Yes.
I told you that they are coming in as preachers and psychologists.
Yes, that's the only thing that
Yeah,
doesn't change.
yeah,
You should
yeah.
expect change everywhere you go, wherever you find yourself, whether in your office, your daily life, your friendship, even in family, like your sisters, your brothers, people change. Every single time, people change. Expect it. Do you understand? Expect it. Don't always think people are always going to be the way they are, because when things changes, when the should I say the situation around your relationship with the person changes, they will change. They might change. And even when nothing changes at all in the relationship or friendship, they may still change because we grow, we learn, we unlearn. So growing, you would definitely, how do I even put it? You definitely learn different things, different aspects of life that will change how you used to think before. Because personally, how I used to think before
Yeah,
in,
it's
let's say,
not. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
2020
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
absolutely different from how I think now, or the way I used to see things even last year is
It's basic. Yeah,
absolutely different from how I see things now.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Frank, talk to me as a counselor. I like that we've brought a professional counselor. Me too, I need counseling, so after I'll come and see you, okay? There's a lot that I'm battling. What do you think about the story overview when you saw it?
All right. Lydia, I would say, Lydia, thanks for sharing your broken pen with us. Well, this is a silent cry of a lot of women in marriage,
Mm,
what is coming out.
mm,
But what I do in 30 years, I had the opportunity, blessed to meet people from various homes, various places who open their marital home, their bedroom, their issues. So you learn more, you know what goes on. How we see marriage as a society, it go beyond what marriage is. So the analogy is like people see marriage just like pizza. Outside is like the boss square, but when they enter, when you open it, it's
Triangling.
round. But when you started eating, it's a triangle.
Mm,
So that the perceptions, the expectations, the overview of how we see marriage is different from when we enter marriage. And when we started facing challenges, our reactions and the way we behave also changes. So many people see marriage as what we see James being portrayed in the picture, somebody who provide, take care of the home. We have duties and responsibility, but the emotional aspects are ignored, and we put more emphasis on children than even the needs of the couple. And we think sometimes the children will face the needs of the couple when it's not so. So when a woman comes and is crying about emotional needs, you're being dramatic. You stretching the whole thing, and you are taking things out of context. So they are abandoned, they are neglected, and sometimes they just stay in the marriage like just something, not something that is fulfilling. I just have to be there, and they don't get even a support from the family. And idea of going to say for therapy or counseling is something that people do not even embrace. Some families believe giving you advice is equal to seeking therapy. So we have advised you, but they don't even know what they are advising. You don't enter a professional person's office or a doctor who start giving you prescription, giving you medication. We don't even examine you to know where you are, what is wrong with you, what need to be fixed. Unfortunately, we don't do that. So this is a silent cry of a woman. So her issue answer a lot of issues out there. That's why I'm thanking her for sharing
yeah,
her broken
yeah,
pen with
yeah,
us.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Thank you, Lydia, for sharing your broken pen with us. But for those of you at home who are still confused, yes, don't worry, I'll do exactly that for you. Let's get straight into the broken pen that Lydia shared. But if you have a story that you also like to share with us, please go on our social media pages and then kindly do share it. We have people, expertise, people that are here to help you. We love you and we want your best interest. Do you get it? Anyway, let's get into it. Now, dear MX24, my name is Lydia. I'm 30 years old and I don't know if I'm a wife or just someone's living responsibility. James and I have been married for 3 years. He's 36. On paper, he's the perfect husband. Anything or anyone can ask of. Calm, hardworking, and responsible. The man who makes sure rent is paid on time and fuel is always in the gen set. When people see us outside, they say, Lydia, you've been blessed. Hold him tight. But what they never get to see is the silence we sleep in. We used to be really close, like best friends. He used to kiss my forehead and I could never escape his touch. We were literally skin to skin all the time, inseparable. Now, he touches me only when he wants one thing. And even with that, it feels routine. Sexual intercourse has been my duty as a wife, a chore to take off the to do list. His shift in nature began after our wedding. But I told myself marriage has phases, love matures, it will get better. Except that it never did. All of a sudden, he began to put me under pressure for a baby. And not just him, from his mother, from every auntie of his. who saw me at a wedding reception. They would say something like, "Hey, Lydia, you are still glowing, oh, but where is the baby glow?" Last month, things got worse as James came home one evening. I remember him. He sat down on the bedside and said, "Lydia, what exactly are you waiting for? Don't you think our family life will get better when a baby arrives?" I just stared at him without uttering a word, because how do you explain to a man who doesn't hold you right anymore that bringing in a child won't magically recreate that affection? Is that all I was meant for? To get married and just be pumping out babies? I thought it was us two first before anything else. So why the sudden change, the sudden pressure to start giving birth? Then the real blow came. During a family gathering, his mother hugged me in front of everyone and said loud enough for half of the room to hear, "My daughter, hurry. You know men don't stay where they don't have children. There's no reason for them to remain." Everyone laughed, except me, and my husband just stood there, silent, not even asking his mother to refrain from such gutter behavior. Nothing. He laughed, and he laughed it away like I was a clown. That night in bed, he tried to be intimate with me, and he tried something to initiate something, not passionately, not tenderly, just as if I was supposed to cooperate. Usually, I'll lie next to him with no underwear for easy access and to keep things spicy, but I was fully clothed that night and I brushed his hand away as he tried to undress me. I heard him whisper from behind, "Lydia, don't make me feel unwanted in my own home." That's when I broke. I cried, not because I don't want him, but because I feel like I've already lost him. It's just that I can't stand his touches anymore. I feel hurt and sick whenever he's around, like he's a complete stranger. And even though I smile sometimes, I want nothing to do with him. Now I'm torn because I know that if we have a child together, it means I'm going to raise the child with a man. I'm going to raise a child with a man I can't currently feel anything positive for. And if I don't get pregnant soon, I might lose my marriage. Dear MX24, I'm tired of pretending, of being the only one giving emotions I no longer know how to find. Should I hold on and pray things will change? Should I sit him down one last time and beg him to see me? Or do I accept that maybe love can fade even when the ring is still on the finger? This is my broken pen. Please help me fix it. This is what she has for us today. That's sad. That's very, very sad. We're going to start with you. You were saying that human beings change except the word of God. Let's continue from there.
Okay, so um, I really don't have much to say about this, but is she being abused in the marriage, like physically?
I don't think so.
It's just emotionally. I wouldn't say just. She's been abused emotionally. I haven't been married before, so my answers, you would have to forgive me if I make some mistakes. I'm not a married woman. Yeah, but from where I sit, I think she should just hold on a little bit. She should hold on. She should talk to her husband, find out what he's going through. Men go through a lot. Women go through a lot. Like human beings generally go through a lot. I think she should find out where that sudden change is coming from. That should be the first step. Find the reason for the sudden change. And then maybe from there, she would get answers to the rest of the questions.
Holding on. 3 years. It's been 3 years now since they got married. And the story says that it was immediately after the wedding that things changed. So what holding on
So what's
again?
changed?
Please let us know what you think.
Okay. So if you listen to the story very well, she has described a journey from where there was a friendship. They could listen to each other. We are my safe space. I could open up to you. I could talk to you about everything. Then they talk about intimacy, skin to skin. We could touch ourselves. We could hug. You kiss me on the forehead. Then we get married. That intimacy has now become a duty. You come to touch him because you want a child. Meaning the friendship is no more there. The intimacy we share is no more there. The closest we come is when you want a child. So it's just like intimacy are being replaced to duty. You are married, so marital duty is have sex with me. Yeah. And the man who is also performing his duty, make sure that I provide the gem set or the food, everything you need is taken care of. So people will tell you that you've gotten a good man. Hold on to it. Don't let the man go. Lydia is happy about it. But the problem with Lydia is we also see marriage not just a relationship between a husband and wife, as a family, extended family in Ghanaian society. So children play a role. Yeah. So if Lydia and James are not having children, I think we could give them that privacy. You could talk to your son as a mother or talk to your daughter. Is there anything a problem? Do you need a help? But to meet a person, when the child coming, without knowing the struggle, because Lydia would love to have a child, would like to be happy at home. And the mother-in-law said a couple of things we just let go. But those words cut, they destroy. So when it said men not stay in a marriage or relationship where there's no children, that's a lie. There are a lot of single mothers out there. Where are the men? There are people who have children and they are taking care of the children alone. Where are the men? So if children keep men, the men shouldn't have left them. What keep marriage or relationships is commitment and character. Are you committed to the relationship? What are your characters? That's what keep it. So on that note, she's wrong. Again, that aim that the husband was saying that if children come in, will be better. Look, children's supposed to be a product of love. We love ourselves.
Not an answer to a deficiency.
Not the producers of love. The children are not producing love. No.
It doesn't work like that.
It's not work like that. Okay? So the husband wants a child, but what to do is ignoring that. That is the emotional aspect of it. The physical aspect, providing financial needs, will not replace the emotional aspect of the marriage. They are all important, and they are need for us. If the woman does not feel love, cherished, cared for, there's no affectionate, it's hard for her to function. If I don't feel love, and my husband touched me, my husband is just with me, after sex is gone, then what then becomes of me? It's like I feel used by the one I love, and I cannot even say it, because I've been saying it in a different way. I'm not getting a result. So in a conclusion, should I go to the man and beg? Or should I pray? I hope you listen to the silence. So I pen the pictures like this because I listen to this issue daily basis. So that you help the man to understand what your wife is going through. I say, wow, I have no idea you're going through this. Because sometimes the women are going through this pain. They are saying that they are reacting. They are not talking about what we are going through, the pain. They are not being able to share the pain here. You know what brought the comment back? In the public garden, in the room, your mother made a statement about this whole thing. And then you laugh it off.
And the man just laughed it off.
He should have stood.
The trust was broken. And the effect of it is, you see, he said that in the bedroom, I'll come naked. I'll wear anything. But this time, when the trust was broken, he came back fully dressed.
With an armor.
It happened. So I get to any place that you trust people around, and the way you feel around the place is different. When there's no trust, you're on your guard. You want to protect yourself. So here is she protecting herself against the man she loves.
Really loves.
Because at that moment, my pain, you just laugh it out like a joke. I feel abandoned. I can't even trust you. And this happens daily in homes like that. And so that the time the child comes in, it's a broken home. Because there's no love. The child wants to see the husband and the wife loving each other because they will learn how to love, how they appreciate, how they do things together, how they resolve conflict. So the child will come empty. So the father take care of the needs of the child, the mother take care of the need of the child. It doesn't see the parents working together. So the child grow up empty because the home was empty.
Hold your thoughts on that. Let me come to you. Before people enter marriage, at what point should they have the conversation of um things can change when we enter the marriage, and how can we make sure that we keep our affection alive?
Okay, thank you very much. I think it should be right from the start of
Talking
your
stage.
not like talking stage, but I mean when you are already in the
Yeah,
relationship with
yeah,
the
yeah.
person, because not only do people change when they enter married, people change in the process of the relationship. And we see those changes. You know, when you are dating someone, I'm sure the first few weeks, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month is all rosy, beautiful, everything. But as time goes on, you see that things start changing. Not like changing in a bad way, but you know, all the butterflies and everything is no more there, or not really there as it was before. So those changes even happen right from the relationship. And trust me, most women, I think, experience the changes before they enter the marriage. But just that it happens, it's like a simultaneous something. It happens, and then the person changes back to who he used to be, then goes off again. All those inconsistency, you need to pay attention to it, because if you really love someone, you'll be consistent with even how you relate to them. When things are going wrong, there's a way you handle it. When things are going right, there's a way you handle it. But if the love is no more there too, there's a way you handle, and it's so obvious. If you feel loved, you never have to question yourself. Personally, I have experienced true form of love from my family, my parents, because maybe there are so many times in my life I messed up where I felt like, okay, they should have given up on me, but they didn't. That was like a true feeling of love for me. So I feel if people genuinely love you, no matter what happens, there's a way they handle things, and you yourself, you will know. You don't even have to ask another person. So whenever you need to question yourself, even in a relationship, you need to think twice. So right from the relationship, I think you should start having those conversations. When things changes, how do we go about it? But trust me, even when things changes, what you people said when you were happy, how you planned that you discuss or you solve disputes, when the disputes happened, it will change, my sister. It will be different. Do you understand? So I just feel like we should allow ourselves to experience people, because what they tell you may not necessarily be what they would do when that actually happens. Yeah, so right from the relationship, just be observant. If it doesn't work for you, I mean, it's not by force. You would always find better. There are better people out there. For me, that's what I keep telling myself, that there are always better people out there. There are better opportunities. Generally in life, there's always better. So if you are not okay, do not settle. Don't compromise. Make sure you are going in for what you really want. Even at that, if it ends up being a bad decision, at least you were sure, you were happy, you made the decision yourself. But if you had, how do you call it? You had this conviction that you don't have to, go into it, and you try to give excuses, and you go into it, you start regretting. You get it? Yes. So,
Just that need fixing, and then they come to you. And I'm sure the number one basic thing that even causes this is lack of intimacy in the marriage. That's emotional intimacy. Why do you think it's so easy like this for a couple to lose their emotional intimacy when they enter marriage? Sometimes they won't even, when they are not married, they'll be together for years. I'm talking 5 years, and the relationship is flourishing, is going amazing. But the moments they say I do, ah, why does that happen?
Because they've replaced intimacy with duties and responsibility. See, the men will tell you, have you seen a politician who is campaigning after winning election?
Oh my
after
goodness!
election, no campaign. You're right.
So they prioritize the friendship, the intimacy. But these are the needs which are sustaining the relationship. Marriage is a relationship between a husband and wife. The ring or the certificates will protect some legal status and so and so. But when it comes to the relationship between the two of you, how you are vulnerable to each other and be able to protect each other, share your feelings, your plans, your fears, your goal, work together, be there for each other, listen to each other. They are key. So they do that. As soon as they get married and the family, other people are involved, the perception is marriage life is different from being in a relationship. But one thing we need to know is what add to this whole relationship is about the legal, the culture, the covenant stuff. The relationship we've started as boyfriend, girlfriend, we have not formalized it. We have not made it a covenant. We have not legalized it. So that relationship does not, it doesn't go away. It is there. It's to stay function. But we're giving it a leg, a place to stand on. So we continue doing what we used to do. But when we stop doing what we used to do, the other relationships start dying. No marriage or relationship stay the same. Either they are growing or they are coming down. And what we do on a daily basis, how we treat each other, is what keeps the relationship going. So anytime there's a change in how you feel, how you see things, you communicate. Communication is what saves marriages. Nobody will read your mind because they are married to you or they share a room with you or know what you are going through. Unless you talk. That's what God in His own wisdom gives us mouth. But when I'm going to talk, there should be a way I talk so that the person will understand me. So that we are communicating, but we are not communicating. And so that I tell people in a marriage, although men and women speak the same vocabulary, but there's a woman's language, there's a man's language. What the woman says is different from what the man says.
Definitely.
Because the woman shares the feelings, listen to feelings. Man is talking about thoughts and ideas and plans.
Logic, yeah.
So sometimes we miss it. So listen to understand from the person's perspective, not what you think. And so that we are in a hurry to reply. So I prepared a response for you before you even land. So many of the marriages have turned to arguments. People want to win instead of being able to listen to understand. So unfortunate for us, we need a lot of orientation, how we see marriage. Not just the rules and responsibilities. We are going to have children and we just have a family. But it's a relationship between husband and wife. And that relationship will evolve as time goes on.
Yes, yes, yes. But we're still having an amazing conversation. I'll still like to remind you that your money deserves the safest home. Now, with Telecel Cash, you're protected every step of the way. No risk, no worries, no long stories, just peace of mind. All you have to do is dial *110# or download the Telecel Play app, and they've definitely got you covered. It's safe, secure, and easy. Telecel Cash, your safer choice. Send it keke. Now you can also send in your messages, ladies and gentlemen. You can send in your messages and definitely it's going to be read for you. We're going to go for a short commercial break. When we come back, there's still more that we have to discuss. Okay, 055 033 1511. 055 033 1511. That is the number that you can definitely share your thoughts also. Well, let's get into more conversation. You're welcome back to Broken Pen. My name is Daphne Flashley, and I'm still here with my beautiful guest and my very handsome counselor, Mr. Frank. Now, the big question that I have, very, very big question that I have is why some men can't stand up for their wives, especially when it comes to their moms. Look at the embarrassments that she went through that day, but he couldn't say anything. He just brushed it off. When it comes to some husbands and their moms, I don't know when their moms will start to accept it that that is no more like your responsibility. I mean, once he's still your child, that's a responsibility. But I mean, he doesn't owe you that much loyalty anymore. Talk to me about that.
Okay, thank you very much. I think with African society, when you are dealing with an elderly person, they've already created that perception that no matter what, the elderly one is always right. Do you understand? And for a gathering like that, if I don't know his reason for not standing up for his wife, but assuming he did, some family members would have a problem with it because maybe they might communicate it to him that he was supposed to talk to the mother after, the gathering or something. Do you understand? But maybe the wife at the time would also expect the husband to stand in for her right there and there to make her feel better. But because of how African society, the way we've I don't know how to put it, they don't understand that right is right and wrong is wrong, regardless who you're dealing with. In our African society, that is how it is. They don't understand that when you are dealing with an elderly person. They do not understand that. So I wouldn't really blame the man if his intentions were very pure. But if it wasn't, and maybe he was in support of what the mother said, then he was wrong.
Definitely.
He was wrong.
How many cases do you get where a woman comes to you and says, "My partner couldn't stand up for me, all because that was his mom"? And what do you tell them?
Countless time. Countless time. Um, Even if we take the scripture, the mandate is a man shall leave the mother and the father and be cleaved to the wife or the spouse. As a mature man, there's what we call boundaries that you need to explore and discuss with your partner. At what point in time do you go to your parents with your marital issues? For a mother to talk in the public, where's the children coming? That is something that has gone beyond the bedroom and it's out there. Who has given that privilege? And for you to hear this and laugh about it, it means that you see nothing wrong. You think that your mom is doing the right thing. What is wrong? So in terms of relationship, what we share, me and my husband, me and my wife, it stays there. If one day we decide that we want to seek for support, whether mom or dad or whatever, we decide on whoever we are going to seek support. Confidentiality is highly important. What we share in our bedroom, I don't want the next person discussing this on the corridor or on the compound house or the next family meeting, and I'm feeling bad. I need to be protected. Do my mother, who is gossip, who is talking about everything without thinking about it, will do that for me? It probably no. We don't go there. Would that uncle, who will just laugh around this, will not even understand the magnitude of it, will put me out there and discuss me, and I'll lose my ego, or my wife will feel hurt. So boundaries are important. People don't discuss these boundaries. Again, mother has made this mistake to talk about this. You might not shout on your mom or address it there, but after a gathering, you go to your mom. And as much as you care about our marriage, our relationship, I think the venue, what you did, was very wrong. I was hurt. I was embarrassed because my wife is part of me. You're my mother. I can't deny you as a mother. There's a role a son playing in our life, and then the role a mom play in their life. So, wife will not take a place of what? A mother. But if you go and then you mess up with my wife, you mess up with me. You mess up with my mother. You know what you mess up. So, mommy, you were wrong, or mommy, you're wrong, and I'm not going to fault you. We take this as a mistake, but this should not go on again. If you had opportunity, it's your daughter. She might equally be hurt. Maybe you can say a word to your daughter, "Oh, I'm sorry, it was oversight." Then we put it right. But you don't go and then picking grudge with your mother and not talk to your mother because of this. And when you come to your wife, share with your wife that I'm sorry for what happened. Genuinely, it was a mistake. I take full responsibility. Next time we will address in a better way. Then you share your wife's feelings. Your wife does not see you like you side with your mother. Sometimes some wives don't also understand a man. You want a man to stand in between you and the mother and put the mother wrong and put you right. How do I do that in the midst of these old people? There has to be a way of doing it. That's why you have to go here and then you come here. So I do teach the men to know that, look, emotional availability is important. When your partner goes through things like that, you realize that we come to the bedroom, facial expression has changed. The way she behaves towards you is different. Like in this case, she has put on a dress before coming to her a bedroom. This is not what your wife does. I touch her and then she doesn't want to be with me. There's something wrong. Can we address it? So this does not affect the relationship we share or intimacy. What is worrying you? What are your hurts? What are your feelings? Can you share with me? So I will listen to understand her point of view. That will help her to heal. That will help her to say that I'm being connected. I can be protected. And then, look, sex could happen. Love making will happen after this. But when that is not addressed, look, trust me, the next time the man will try it again, and the man will feel that my wife is denying me.
As he said, denying me in my own home.
house. Can you imagine?
How dare you?
Some people act
Can
on
you
this.
imagine in your own house, in
Some women
our
threat.
house?
Some women threat. If you continue like this and see me with another person,
Jesus.
don't blame me. Others women breaks out with the family. A family say it is wrong for you to deny your husband. So imagine your bedroom is being discussed at a family
It's very bad.
meeting. So it goes on in different families. So we just had a couple to understand that this is privacy. We need to make each other feel comfortable. You have to protect each other. Certain conversations stay in the bedroom. In the midst that you are not getting that understanding, seek of professional help. Because it will help protect your image, your own relationship. Because the last thing for you to go to the family meeting and come back and feel like, I wish I never had that meeting because of the way the whole thing was handled and how the issues evolved later on. Some of these conversations destroy the marriage. To other people, we have come in to help. So after talking to you, after advising you, everything to go fine. But advice does not change anybody. And I can't say, future and sacred nipa. So we need to be mindful of that. And so for me, what I would say is the men and the wife, the mothers in particular, give room to these mature people to hurt. Grow. Somewhere. It's not a big deal. This year, I've had about 6 counseling who were struggling with giving birth, having a child over the years. Sometimes they will just show up. Counsel like this whole thing is becoming something else. And I said, look, fix your relationship, get better. As far as the doctor says you are okay, this will happen. This year I've heard plenty of people call it, we've conceived. We're expecting a baby, a child. I remember this conversation we had. You see, you got there. I didn't do the work for you, but at least you understand each other, you know what to do, and in God's own time, it happened.
Yeah. I like that. I like that he has brought the child birth in there because I wanted to talk about that. In this big 2026, I'm very appalled as to how family members think that it's okay to question a couple, a newly married couple, when are you giving birth? What do you think?
It doesn't make sense, you know. It's not even about newly married, whether old marriages or new marriages. That is not for family members to decide.
Are they God? Like,
So let me chip in this. I
Okay.
have 2 big sisters, Nancy Nanajwa Hima Agyepong. Shout out to you. And then Gertrude Amanya Meche, Mrs. Efum. Let me say Mrs. Efum because she likes to rock her Mrs. Yes. They are both married. These are my big sisters, blood sisters. They are married with kids. When my big sister, my second sister Gertrude got married, it took her 3 years to have a baby. I don't think we ever had that conversation. I mean, I respect her so much. I respect her marriage, her husband so much to even ask about that. If you think you have something to do, pray for them. Pray to God that if they indeed need a child, please grant them their heart desires.
according to God's will.
According to God's will, because God's timing is always the best. I have experienced God's timing, and I'm saying this based on experience. I have honestly experienced God's timing. I'll talk about that maybe some other time. I don't know if it will come up today. I'll say it. So the best you can do is just to pray for them. Unless, of course, they have a plan and they've decided that, okay, they want to be married for 4 years, 5 years before they have. You don't know that because it's between them. You don't know their plans. So you just can't assume that they are not conceiving. You know, sometimes we should think outside the box. What if this couple have a plan? They want to do this and that before they have kids. It may be deliberate. It may be that they want it and they are not getting it, but you don't have to ask. Just pray for them. If they don't come to you, you don't have to ask. Pray for them. And thanks be to God, my sister has a beautiful baby girl, and I'm sure there are more coming.
There are more coming.
Yeah,
There are more
amen.
coming. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Listen, it's crazy that these conversations are still had. On the morning show we spoke about how women have different, they end up looking different when they're pregnant. And it even came to my understanding. I learned something new today, that even the quality of the man's sperms actually affect the woman's cycle. And so if this is how much men are important in their wives' lives, is it not crazy that till now there are still men that anytime a woman goes to them, they say that you're being dramatic. Oh, every day you're yelling, every day you're nagging, or whatever. How can a woman actually, so right now, how can Lydia go to her husband to say that it's been 3 years, it looks like my feelings for you are even dying?
Um, you've touched on very sensitive stuff. Yes. We the men, many of the men have not seen their fathers being nice, loving, romantic towards their mothers. They've not seen this. And conversation as intimate conversation, being playful, some don't even see it. Unfortunate for us. But one of the things that we cannot run away from is what made this lady fall in love with you. What were you doing? It will take that thing to sustain the relationship. But maybe you could be on the phone for 1 hour, listen to all these nonsense conversations, telling her that I'm interested in your life, every detail. But we are married and just a 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes conversation. Hey, look, I'm very busy.
Hey, I'll cry. Oh.
So then the next time,
Hey.
when something is worrying her, she's finding it difficult to come to you to speak about it. So that friendship is very important. So for all what has happened, what I'm going to plead with Lydia on this note is, you go to your husband. Don't go and beg. It's asking whether you should beg. No. Don't beg. Don't you see, we even
Have you heard?
your
Don't
self-esteem.
beg.
You don't go
You don't
bend or
have
kneel
to.
down. No. Just order my sweetheart babe or whatever you call yourself. The babe have not left because we have an issue. The baby stayed there.
Yes.
I love you. I want this marriage. But you know something, I have to be honest with you. I feel empty. No affection. I don't feel love. These are the things you used to do that made me feel love. The touch, the conversation, what we do. Mention those things. It's been missing. I'm not faulting you. But to bring back these feelings, this intimacy, we need to go back to those bases. Because we cannot bring a child to this empty home where there's no love. And then we feel like the child will replace that.
Even when it comes to children, they come with so much duty.
will
Like
make
it
it
will
worse.
even make it worse. Like, what is he thinking?
If the two of us cannot do it, then we need a help. Let's seek for professional help. So I'm not saying that I'm blaming you or I'm blaming myself. Our marriage need a work. And until that work is done, we can't go on having children. I'm not giving a condition. What I want us is to do things right. Yeah. If talking to your husband is difficult, put into writing. Dear husband, the conversation has become difficult now. I'm writing to you. and write how you feel. Don't make accusations. Some people start, you are like this, you this. That will confuse him. I like how she was narrating a story. I feel the use of I statement, talk about how you feel, how you see things, share that, offer your partner the opportunity to put themselves in your shoe and see things from your perspectives. Do that without any accusation or blame. And when you do that, wait, you come around. And probably we'll have a conversation on this.
Yes. So I want to ask you, do you know that you are not the only guests that we have today? Okay. Well, our viewers are also, I guess they've sent in, today our viewers are counselors too. It's not only you that are a counselor today. Well, we have someone, Abuna here. Abuna says, dear writer, you won't find an answer with us. Go to God and pray for your marriage. Pray that the Lord gives you wisdom to handle the situation. Also pray for your family, his family, especially your mother-in-law and your husband, to be willing to listen to you and for God to change their hearts and mind. The plan of the enemy is to steal joy from marriage. So don't allow the enemy to do that to your marriage. Fight that principality arising in your marriage, not fight the principality arising in your marriage, not your husband. I pray this will help you the way, in one way or another. You're blessed and you overcome it. Nanaya says that, my dear, marriage has a phase, but just that your husband is just acting immature. Because how can a wife be ridiculed in front of a family meeting and husband doesn't react? Yes, this is a deep question. And we have King. Now, King Silla says, truth be told, everyone is going to tell you to communicate with him. But the biggest factor here is he going to comprehend to your communication? Big question. If yes, then communicate. But if no, just know having a child won't change nothing. Put yourself first. Ask yourself, do I still want to be unhappy here, devastated and hurt? Made fun of, look like a broken record in the presence of my mother-in-law? You will then find your answers and you will take action. Good day and stay safe. And remember, nobody can make everyone happy. You are your own happiness. Now, Simbad says, my dear, some men are just weak. You gotta stand and voice out. A weak man needs a strong woman. Oh, violence. Now, Fali says, don't you think communicating your feelings to him will make him understand how you feel? Let him know the marriage is not all about having babies. And do you think he's feeling or do you think he's feeling or the attitude towards you will change after you give him a child? Put in more prayers into the marriage and ask God for help and directions. He's always with us, sending you lots of love, healing, and prayers. Yes. Then we have more. Akwesi says, most people are saying the wife should communicate to him, which is right. But what is the best communication to a man who knows that both couples, mother-in-law and auntie, needs a child, and her wife doesn't even put on underwear at times when she's beside him on bed and does want to do the do. Secondly, the man doesn't even know that in marriage sex is duty, even if both couples doesn't feel for it, and sex should be every week. From my pastor's messages about marriage, from my point of view, the marriage is under attack. Is sex every week?
Sex is not duty.
It's not a duty, but this person says that is a duty, even when you're mad, when your partner says open.
I know people who preach the scripture and they use the book of Corinthians and then they talk about it. But you see, we're talking about a need here. Men who have an urge for physical need. If you see the man who wake up dawn, his manhood is even up already.
Can you imagine?
Your homos and our homos are very different. When you tell a man that you are stupid, you just find a man like me. How can you say I'm stupid? But when you tell a woman you are stupid, you started feeling stupid. Oh, is that how? So our needs are different. That's why when you even come to the bedroom, when you talk about sex, the woman says, let's talk first. Relax. The man is going to the pants. Let's go there.
Let's talk first.
So the balance here is, let me make you feel affectionate. Let me meet your emotional needs, or you meet my physical needs. We are all happy together. So when we are done, we all fall asleep. Not that one is sleeping, one is up. It looks like you are full and I am
still hungry. Well, we still have more messages here. Kuda in Tombi says, good thing is everything you're seeing is not a lie. Decision lies with you to keep being tortured by the relatives and him too. If I was you, I would rather not have that baby and slowly take care of the marriage. Oh, and slowly kiss the marriage goodbye. He's not going to change, neither is his relatives. You can't please everyone to save yourself from that. Yes. And then we have the last messages. Sonia says, I think you should communicate your feelings, talk to him about how you feel and how he's hurting you. And then lastly, with what you're going through personally, I will pray and fast and wait for a sign. If it doesn't, I will grant him a divorce. See if he finds someone who can give him children. Marriage is not a do or die thing. If you ain't doing well, you have to leave. If you buy right now, from thinking and pain, he will surely marry again. Anyway, there's one important part of the segments that I really, really like. It is look into my eyes. I see that you've given us so many advice, but this is your opportunity to talk to Lydia because Lydia is watching. So I'm going to start with you. This is your camera. You're going to look into the camera and please talk to Lydia like she's your sister. I know you say you have big sisters. Talk to her like she's the last one. Let's go.
Okay, so hi Lydia, this is Nanaya Gyau Agyepong, CEO Gyau Atelier. I'm a fashion designer, a proud one to be precise. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to tell Lydia, thank you so much for sharing your story because I know a lot of people have the same story or similar story to yours and they are not able to voice it out. So this is an opportunity for them to also grab the advices you are getting from your online aunties, from the program as well. I want to tell you that God loves you so much. You are an amazing woman. From the message, from how you even, constructed your story, it shows how amazing and soft of a woman that you are. I pray that you find all the questions to your answers, um, all the answers to your questions, all the answers to the questions that you asked. I pray that you find it yourself, like through prayer. And from everything that we've said, I hope you take one or two from it. I want to tell you to just keep calm, do you, do you. Just do what you think is right for you. That way, if things doesn't even go as you wanted, you'd feel okay rather than listening to, put everything together and advise yourself. Do what will make you happy. Do what will make you feel safe. Most importantly, make sure you are being protected in whatever decision that you make. Do not make any decision to please anyone, not your family, not your friends, not me, not the people on this show, not your online friends. No. Just make a decision that you yourself, you feel safe about it. Thank you so much. Bye.
And then please, the counselor is coming to counsel you. I hope you pay us for this one. Let's go.
Hello, Lydia. You said a strong woman. You are not crazy. What you are going through is rare. And what I'm going to tell you is your husband, who is James, James is not a wicked man. He's a good person, but doesn't understand you. You have people around you, but they don't seem to understand you. So that's what makes it very difficult for you to navigate your pains. But there's a solution. Solution is not a divorce. It's not begging. The solution starts with you and James talking. So go to James. You're not going to beg James. You're going to look at James and tell James, James, I love you. I care about you. I love this marriage. I want this marriage. But there's something that is going on with me. I want to talk to you as a friend. Even as a current friend, a former friend, former best friend. So I want you to just listen to understand me, not listen to reply. And if you have any questions, or any clarification, when I'm done, you can ask. I'm feeling lonely. I don't feel love. When I say I don't feel love, these are the things. The physical touch. I know one of your love language here is physical touch. You're not being touched. Affection. For somebody to be thoughtful about you, things they do, gestures. You're not seeing that. Trust has been broken. Certain statements have been made at a family meeting. How does that make you feel? Share that. I don't see mommy, that is your mother-in-law, as a bad person, your auntie. But probably their actions, their mistake has really cost you. Share that with James. Going forward, I want you to seek a therapy, a counselor, so we can make the relationship work. Let's also discuss boundaries. So as conversations like this about child should not be discussed elsewhere. Lastly, when we take care of the fruit, when we take care of the root, we will enjoy the fruit. So when we take care of the relationship, when the children come, they'll be happy in that home. Children will come. I want to have children with you, but let's fix the relationship before children.
Let's fix the relationship before children. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been it for Broken Pen. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much, Nanaya, for joining us. Please, how do we reach out to you?
Okay, so you can reach out to me through my social media handles, Gyau Atelier on Instagram, Gyau Atelier on TikTok. And then you can also reach out on my WhatsApp number. Can I put it out here?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so 0553 124524. 0553 124524. When you reach out to me, tell me you got the number from the program, and
Yeah.
I'll give you special discounts.
Oh, you see, yes, will you give me discounts?
Of course.
Definitely. Please, how can we reach you?
All right, you can reach me by just Google Counselor Adofoli or go to counseloradofoli.com or any of the social media, starting from Facebook, Frank Edem Adofoli, or the rest is Counselor Adofoli.
Yes,
On the phone, you can call 0201 435300. You can also WhatsApp on the same line.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guests, for coming in. Lydia, I hope you're feeling much, much better now. We'll come your way with more intriguing stories, but yet thought-provoking and also solving people's broken pen. My name is Daphne Flashley. Remember that this show is proudly brought to you by Telecel Cash. Telecel Cash says that you are safe, okay, when it comes to keeping your money. So all you have to do is just send, or keep your money definitely there. Dial *110# or download the Telecel Play app. Telecel Cash, your safer choice. Would you send it, keke? Anyway, see you same time next week, Tuesday. Have an amazing one. Bye-bye.